Get over here.
All right. It is the Down Beach Buzz podcast for September 18th, 2025. And yes, they're both here, Paul Zgalich and Sherri Lilienfeld. First off, let's talk about Sherri Lilienfeld. I reached out to AI. That's this artificial intelligence thing. Let's see if it's accurate. Sherri is a highly accomplished real estate professional with a background that blends technical expertise with extensive experience in sales and marketing. She's a broker associate with EXP Realty, primarily serving the Jersey Shore communities like Margate, Ventnor, and Longport. Her academic background, glad you asked, chemical engineering. She earned a bachelor's of science, the Bachelor of Science degree from Cornell University. And then in 2002, Miss Lilienfeld and her handsome husband, Zach, transitioned to a full-time career in real estate. What is it? Buy, sell, residential, commercial. Sherri Lilienfeld of EXP Realty. And Paul Zgalich, what does AI think about this guy? The Senior VP of Mortgage Lending at Rate.com, offices in both the Philly suburbs and Brigantine, New Jersey. Paul has a strong background and reputation as a top-performing loan officer, consistently ranking among the best in the state with a career spanning over a decade. Paul Zgalich has a deep expertise in the mortgage sector. Find him at Rate.com. How's that? All
not bad? Pretty good.
Not bad.
Sherri's is better, but it's fine.
I did ask OpenAI about your background in soccer, and it gave me an awful lot of stuff I had no idea about. So it is up there, up
Good.
on ChatGPT, or if you use Gemini or whatever. Anyway, Paul, I think mortgages and financing. Just a day or maybe a day or two ago, we got some movement. Jay Powell changed the overnight rate. Will that affect mortgage rates, Paul, since you are the guy at Rate.com?
So it's a big misconception that once we see the Fed rate cut, everyone anticipates a rate cut in the actual interest rates themselves. However, that quarter point cut really has already been baked into the rates that we've seen over the last 2 to 3 weeks. We could have used a 0.5 or a 3/4 point cut, but unfortunately, everything went great yesterday. Speaking was great. And then at the end of every one of his speeches, he kind of throws in that little hint that inflation is still an issue. So the markets reacted in a negative way yesterday. Everyone thought, hey, rate cut, great. This is great. Rates are going to come down. And then at the very end, he had to throw in the inflation number is still a problem. So what that does is the unknown, the fear in the markets still is keeping rates high. Now let's look back of where we probably were months ago when rates were in the low sevens, high sixes, where today, rates are finally, you can get a rate in the 5 and 7/8, 5 3/4, 5.99, depending upon each situation. We're finally seeing improvement, but that improvement that we're seeing today has already been impacted by the cut that we saw yesterday. So it's already been baked in. So don't think that rates are going to get into the 4s or the low 5s immediately. I think projection wise, I think the spring of next year will be a great opportunity for people that want to list their house, right? Everyone that has a house to list over the last 14 months, they haven't listed their property because they're saying, why am I going to take a rate of 6.5% when I have a rate of 3.5% or 4%? And I'm going to make a lateral move and my payment's going to go up. Or I want to upsize and my payment's going to double, right? So we're at a landlock. No one wants to sell just because of where their current rate is, which in turn, once something comes on the market, there's a bidding war. There's multiple offers. There's such little inventory in the PA market. The second home market's slightly different, but it's still a challenge. Again, it's still a seller's market. So hopefully we'll see some consistency in the rate cuts. They're projected 2 more this year, and they only announced 1 for next year. But I think all of that can change because there will be a new Fed administration or Fed commissioner next year, which is good. I think where someone will come in and really see that we need to get lower rates to drive the market. So this is the first rate cut in 2025, I believe. But we need more. We need more cuts. We need more uncertainty. We need the inflation to come down, and we need people to want to sell and swallow taking a slightly higher rate. So, great, happy for the rate cut. We need more, and I think that the spring of next year will be an unbelievable market for us.
And what do you think, Sherri Lilienfeld of EXP Realty? Talk to Paul Scollage of Rate.com all about how does the rate cut or the mortgage rates affect your business as the top realtor in the Down Beach area.
Mute.
I don't think we can hear you, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's just so funny when I hear Paul talking about these rates, because I mean, I could remember when rates were like up to like 18%. Paul, you were probably too young for that, but it was crazy. 5-6% at one time was considered a really amazing rate. It's just that we got so spoiled with rates that were about 3%, 4%. I don't know, Paul, what are your thoughts on that? Like, it's still not really high. But yes, people have 3%. They're like, I don't want to sell my house at 3% and then take a 6% rate. But
yeah, I mean, I think you look at, I've been in this business 17 years, and this is the highest rates that I've ever seen, where we got to like the 8.25%, maybe 8.5% at one point. Parents bought in the 80s, 16, 17% was relative. However, you're also buying a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 house. So when you're looking at the comparison, having the 16% rate and your house is 50 or 60,000, not the end of the world. 8% rate, someone's buying $1 million house. I mean, their mortgage payment's $13,000, $14,000 a month. So what it does is it really puts a hold on the market where people don't want to do anything. It's like I keep saying, we're landlocked. We got the buyers over here, the sellers are just battling back and forth. And until we get, in my opinion, until we can get rates consistently in the 5s, we will then start to see more properties come on the market for sale. We need more properties. We need more inventory. Inventory is definitely improving, but it's still at a historic low. So without the inventory, we're going to have this issue, for a while. But I do expect rates to come down. And I think once the rates come down, the pricing on properties could kind of just flatline out some, right? I think there'll be more inventory, more competition, but more inventory, which in turn will help us, which is what we need to see. So until we get rates, again, my opinion, in the upper 5s consistently, people aren't going to sell.
A question came in, Paul. I think we talked about it before, actually many times. What's better, a lower interest rate or a lower home price for the market to get back into the way it used to be?
So I think both is what's needed. I think the lower rates will get people to sell. Let's look at it. Housing prices are probably at an all-time high in terms of what we've seen increase over the last couple of years. So having a lower rate, in my opinion, is what's going to drive people to want to sell their property. Also, it's wild. Your house is worth what anyone's willing to pay, right? You can put your house up, and next thing you know, there's going to be multiple people bidding on it, overbidding, over asking. Like, I've seen some really silly stuff over the last 12 months where properties are going 100,000 over asking. You're waiving inspections. Like that market is real. Again, not as impactful down the shore, but it's definitely there. I mean, people are definitely overpaying for the lack of inventory that's on the market. So great time to sell, but when you sell, where are you going to go, right? You got to go somewhere. Unless you're buying cash, it's great. I mean, if you can buy cash, it's a perfect opportunity for you, because you don't have to then get a mortgage and look at some of these high-end interest rates.
Here's a wild card question for both of you. How many of your clients are well aware that when they overpay or they pay a premium price for a Jersey Shore home, do they know that their insurance will most likely go up a lot because of replacement value issues, and that their real estate taxes will also go up as well? How many are well aware of that?
I don't think people are well aware of it. I think with the insurance aspect, I think people that have a primary residence have seen the increase in insurances. I mean, to live in Florida and have a mortgage right now with wind, flood, and it's almost impossible to get coverage. And when you get coverage, a buddy of mine, my neighbor in Brigantine, he's spending like $15,000 a year in insurance in Florida, right? That part is real. And I think that that's a problem where people are saying, I want to buy in cash. I don't have to worry about having any type of insurance. I'll take the risk. But insurance premiums right now are at an all-time high. I mean, I'm dealing with stuff in Brigantine right now. It's at the highest point it's ever been. It drives me crazy. Insurance companies, right? You need insurance. Next thing you know, you get a claim. You put a claim in, your premium doubles or skyrockets. It's like it's a tough spot for homeowners to be in. It drives me bonkers.
How's the space of appraisals? Those are a bit of a wild card lately. Is that true that you have to always keep your fingers crossed that the property you're about to underwrite is appraised properly, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood, I have not seen one appraisal issue in 2025. And the reason is that so many people in 2023, in 2024, overpaid for properties that they set the tone for the market. So that part, very rare to see an appraisal shortage. It's real. It does happen, but in this market right now, in my opinion, so many people overpaid for the properties over the last 2 years. They set the tone. That's why the neighbor that's sitting on the sidelines saying, wow, that neighbor just got 80 to 100 grand more than what we ever expected. Should we sell, right? And then they're looking, hey, I'll sell. I'll get an extra 100 grand, but then I got to go and get a mortgage at 6.5% when my mortgage is at 3.5% now. So again, until we get something in the fives consistently, people aren't going to sell.
How about Sherri Lilienfeld of EXP? How would you bring the next topic up in regards to what Paul's dealing with and the interest rates, the mortgage rates, and the promise that the numbers are going to come down, the rate's going to come down over the next couple of months, maybe. How does that affect your business, Sherri, being a realtor, the number one realtor in the Down Beach area? That news broke today. Number one realtor, and you're very hydrated today. Show people what you're drinking out of, the size of it.
My water bottle.
It doesn't fit in the screen, you know? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to show off the hydration methods of sustainable Sherri.
Hydration is very important. It's interesting, Paul talked about the inventory, and I've said this before. To me, where we're having an inventory issue is, and it sounds really weird, but like below 2 million or 1.5 million. There's so many buyers out there that wanted to buy before the pandemic, and then they're like, oh, I'll just wait. And now they're just kicking themselves like, oh, wow, I really should have bought before. But the average price of our homes, it's all new construction. So we're talking 3 million. So these buyers that have wanted to buy, waiting for prices to come down, never happened. But now they figured out how they could buy properties, for $1 million, and $1 million, $2 million. And so there's such a shortage of inventory at that price point, like refurbished homes that are really, really nice, not necessarily new, but like new. There's a lot of demand for that. So like Paul is saying, we have just a shortage of inventory, not so much the new construction homes, but for homes that are refurbished and nice and people can move into. So,
okay.
Yeah, and the interest rates still affect them, even if people are paying cash. A lot of times they'll get a home equity line, and that home equity line is also tied to the rate. Like that rate can fluctuate. Paul, what's the current home equity line rate? It's like prime plus 1 or something.
It all depends on if you want to do a line where it's interest only, where you're going to get a lower rate. Some have prime -1 in some cases. Some have a standard 6.5%, 7% on a 20-year term. So that option is always good. I think what gets better when the Fed cuts rates right now, you're going to see credit card interest drop. You're going to see home equity interest drop. So those things, and car loans drop. So those things are what's impacted. But long term, until we start seeing things consistently in the 5% range. We've definitely improved. I mean, we're definitely better than where we were. And you mentioned something. There are so many buyers that started this process in 2023, 2024, and couldn't swallow a pill at 7.5%, 7% to make that mortgage payment. So they're waiting. What's going to happen is once you get to that 6%, which we're there now, or into that upper fives, everyone that's been sitting around, they're going to come back out. So now what it's going to do, it's going to drive up the demand is going to be crazy. Again, getting into the overbidding and so forth. There's going to be multiple people bidding on those properties, which I try to tell clients before, hey, yes, the rate's 0.5% higher than where you want it to be. You have no competition. Buy your house knowing that you're going to refinance out of it. It gives you the ability to win in that situation. Unfortunately, a lot of first-time home buyers, which I understand, didn't want to go that route because it's tough, right? Are the rates going to get better? People, the unknown certainty of what's going to happen is really what also probably held people back. But rates come down, more buyers in the market, more competition.
All right, Paul Zgalich of Rate.com. Final thoughts, Paul. How can people reach out to you, and why would somebody want to reach out to Paul Zgalich of Rate.com?
Yeah, I think it's a great time right now, especially where rates are today. And if, right now, the refinance market, I can't tell you how many people are refinancing right now today. Anyone that bought in 23, 24, and the beginning of 25 probably is sitting at a rate of 6.99 or higher. Look at refinancing, cash out refinancing. You can take cash out of your house, pay down credit card debt, pay off cars. There's things that you can look at to do with the equity that you have in your house. So many people overpaying for properties. What does that do? Puts more equity in your house. Also, someone that put down 5% or put down 10%, you might have enough equity in your house now to not only lower the rate, but get rid of the mortgage insurance. So great time to refinance in this market. It's a golden opportunity. Don't miss out on it.
How do we find you, Paul? What's your best phone number here?
You got the rate.com, paul.zgalich@rate.com, or my cell, which typically is up there. I apologize. 215-416-5958. You can also see me out floating around on the water too. Just let me know.
All right, very good. We're going to let Paul go, and then Sherri and I will take a brief break. We'll be right back on the Down Beach Buzz podcast.
Have a great day.